I can do it. Welcome, everybody, to episode 34 of the Reptile Rejects podcast. Tonight we got Shan and Lisa on, so this should be a pretty awesome show. I'm coming to you guys from my new, studio. I'll have to work it out how I want to do it, but Wi-Fi gets hooked up tomorrow, so I'll be back to the normal setup for podcasting hopefully next week. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is good enough to keep it going, and I don't just have to keep doing it off my phone. So yeah, everything got through the move pretty well. I didn't lose anything. Even all the fish were good. Newts are now set up, and probably gonna feed everybody in the next day or two. How are you guys all doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah, doing pretty good over here. On my end, well, I think I'm just like you. I'm moving out in a month, so should be fun. I think we're gonna do. We talked about doing a moving show there because you just moved your entire collection. I'm gonna have to move my entire collection in about a month. Changing the snake room, getting a much bigger one, which I'm pretty happy about. What's new? Temps are going up slowly. Animals are locking up. I got one or two ovulations too, so it's going. Except for that, life is good. How about you, Shan? Anything new on your end?
Waiting on eggs from that granite female of yours, and that's about it. That's about the only thing that's new. Temperatures are going up here too. It's about normal. I ain't moving anytime soon.
Yeah, you have too many animals to move. I had enough issues, not issues, but it was stressful enough with my 25 animals and not however many you have.
I wouldn't want to move. The last time I moved the reptile room and the rodents, that was a fun time too, Pretty much put the rodents in big garbage pails in a trailer and took them down for 100 kilometers down the road. Fun times. Never want to do that again.
Horrible. To me, I feel like when you're moving, it's like you got one day to move your actual shit in your house, like your sofa, your all that stuff, and then the next day is the reptile room. That's basically how I'm doing it. I'm not looking forward to it. Anyway, well, Mike, I'm glad you didn't lose anything. Everything worked out well.
Everything is perfect. Everything is good. They only spent 2 nights bagged up, and everything was set up pretty quickly. It was most of the stuff. I was able to move it all in a 15-foot U-Haul, and then animals went in my truck with a couple extra cages that had to go in the back of my truck. So yeah, did it all in one go. It was a day drive out to Calgary and another few hours down to where I am now. So yeah, it's all worked out good, and I'm excited because now I have more space. Although I should pump the brakes a little bit and kind of figure out what I actually want to do, whether I want to build out the basement a little bit for an actual reptile room or just kind of keep it how it is now. Oh, the computer shut off. Alrighty. Do you want me to do the ad read, Dom?
Sure. You do your ad thingy, and then we'll bring on Lisa because she's not actually already here waiting in the background, right? Go for it, Mike.
Awesome. Alrighty. Reptile Rejects is proudly sponsored by Cornell's World, one of the North America's leaders in reptile caging. They make top-of-the-line PVC cages, PVC racks, as well as custom glass terrariums, custom PVC cages, and all the other reptile supplies you may need, from cocoa fiber to heat panels to herpstats to cleaning supplies. Greg West at Cornell's World has it all. And yeah, he's a keeper just like everybody else. He has painted agamas and monkey tail skinks there. Even has some cool dart frogs and a green tree python. So yeah, he's a keeper just like everybody else. And awesome people. Go check out cornellsworld.com today and go follow them on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and tell them where you heard about them. And also, we're gladly sponsored by the Western Canadian Reptile Expo. The next show is April, I want to say 19th and 20th in Calgary at the Acadia Complex. That'll be probably the second biggest reptile expo in Western Canada, as the biggest would be the August show held at the Seven Chiefs Sports Complex, I want to say. But yeah, that's also a really fun show that everybody should come out to. It's definitely the biggest show in Western Canada in terms of vendors and just overall show size. So yeah, go check it out and go buy your tickets. Pre-order your tickets online to skip the line. There's also VIP hours, so you can get in an extra half an hour or hour early, depending on what they have lined up, and you can take advantage of those discounts for showing up early. Alrighty, Dom, you can take her over.
Sorry about that. I figured out how to send the pictures to my email, so it'll be good for later. I'm slightly smarter.
I was worried that there was a huge delay or something.
No, I was just trying to do that. I was letting you blab on. By the way, I did the commercial last week. I don't know if you heard it. It was pretty terrible. It was definitely not as good as you.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah.
I listened to that part.
All right. I was trying to do it. I'm like,
I thought it was pretty good.
I was like, it's you supposed to do that. Like, but anyway. So today we've got Lisa Farinha. Really excited to have her on. Definitely want to hit up the white lips, and I know she's talked about white lips a million times, but I want to get white lips. Shan wants to get white lip. White lips are awesome, so we're going to have to hit up on it, even if Lisa's probably thinking she's done it too often. But we're also going to chat definitely some GTPs, one of her clutches from last year, and she's got her first clutch of carpet pythons coming up too, so we're going to chat about that. First off, Lisa, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on. We're really happy to have you. How have you been?
Thank you so much, guys. Pretty good. So far, I'm having a pretty good year too. I'm expecting, like you said, the carpet pythons, and so that's really great. I've been trying to breed that female for, well, I got her originally in 2019. She's a wild caught female. So it's been a long journey getting her to want to lay eggs in captivity. So, it makes it just even more exciting when you have to go through so much to make it happen and you don't give up. And then, so fingers crossed nothing happens in between now and eggs.
Well, let's start with let's do the carpet talk first. So why don't you tell us what you paired and what you have exactly, and then we can talk about a bit more about what we were talking right before we jumped on, just so we can have it on the air.
Okay, well, I originally wanted to get a carpet python pair to breed, and I thought that the granite gene was really cool. So I had heard that the granite gene has problems, so maybe it's better to do het to het. And so I got a pair of hets from Inland Reptile, Nick Mutton, and I raised them up, and then I got a clutch, and I had really bad odds. Out of the 9 eggs, I ended up with, or 10 eggs, I ended up with 9 babies, and 1 baby died in the egg and never made it out, and that was the one granite in the clutch. So I ended up with 9 normal babies. So, and I've heard you talk about it, Dom, how it, nobody really wants possible hets, So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and get a granite male, and then I found this wild caught female. I really liked her because she has really neat eyes. Her eyes are silver, which I don't see that very often in the IJs. They usually have pretty dark eyes, at least the ones that I've seen. So I really like that. Plus she had a really nice high contrast and good nice pattern, like lots of I wouldn't call it reduced, but it was definitely more reduced than some of the banded ones that I had originally. So I thought she was really beautiful, and I brought her home, and she started eating for me right away, and my guess is she was around 2. She wasn't a newborn, but she wasn't an adult. But she stopped eating, and she didn't eat for me for almost a whole year. I actually thought for a little while that maybe she wasn't going to make it. So it's been a long road to this point to get her to lay eggs for me. She's always been really shy. She's like the most shy snake that I have. She will eat once she became mature, she started eating a little better, where she would eat off tongs. But for years, I would have to drop feed for her. She wouldn't eat in front of me, and I think that's just a wild caught thing with her. But what I'm hoping is to eventually, because I also have another female that I got from inland, really reduced pattern IJ. And so I'd really like to get more reduced pattern into the granite gene. That's my ultimate
Very
goal.
nice. Just to confirm though, so your
So
female
is that
is. Go for it, Mike.
is that
Major.
more like I guess I'm thinking when I hear reduced pattern for some reason I was thinking like of the Darwin tiger stuff. Like in terms of reduced pattern on an IJ, what does that look like?
Yeah,
Is that like more flames slash like color? I guess you could
almost
say it's.
like a jag. Yeah, like a jag. Yeah, like the saddles are smaller. There's she has a full stripe on her back, um, like a bulb stripe. I don't know if you
I've,
call that a
I've
stripe,
seen
but
that.
there's a bulb, and so almost like as you can, it's basically trying to make a jag pattern, but without the jag gene. That's what I think of a reduced pattern in the carpets. I might be
Okay.
wrong because I, I originally when I heard them talking about tigers on the carpet python, I always thought they were talking about banded animals because when I think of tiger stripes, I think of the more like up and down rather than the long lateral stripes. So I think of vertical stripes, and so when I would hear them talk about tigers, I always
I
thought
think
of
the
banded
problem with
animals.
tigers is that initially tigers came out only for coastals, and it was meant only for Balin tigers that were that. Then there started to be tigers for different things like Russian tigers and other things like that. Who's the fifth? The second Michael. Um, and after that, I know that when um, Inland Reptile Nick Mutton decided to um, name his perfectly striped, what was it, Darwins, he called them tigers as well, which at that point to me felt like it mixed up the whole thing because all of a sudden everything was called a tiger, and I think that was a mistake. So a tiger is definitely just a striping down the middle, but like if you talk about West Papuans, they automatically, like most of them are all striped. I'd say like if you get any wild caughts, most of the wild caughts you can find some banded, but I think the natural phenotype you'll actually have more that are striped down their back than that are banded. So would you call them tiger? I mean, in my opinion, I would call that striped. I wouldn't call that tiger, but I also don't think a Darwin should be called a tiger. But again, that's just my opinion. I think it just muddies and confuses people more.
So I should say it's a striped animal
I
rather
don't
than
think
a
there's
reduced
anything wrong with
pattern.
saying it's a reduced pattern. I just don't know what really qualifies as a reduced pattern, right? Like if you take a reduced pattern diamond, it's really obvious, right? It's completely different. If you look at the reduced pattern Darwins, I would say that there's a very large variance, and you can really see the difference. I honestly don't really know what a reduced pattern IJ really looks like. So I don't know if you think you can really tell the difference. I think there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with saying I have an IJ that's got reduced pattern. Now, is it genetic? Are you gonna be able to pass that on? I don't know. Right? So
I've s- I've seen the IJ reduced pattern that Lisa's talking about, though. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. It's basically just a one
Yeah.
line. Everything else is gone, pretty much, almost, and certain spots, splashy spots of like
The
jag.
saddles are that like the saddles don't touch each
Yeah,
other. They're more separated, and there's a bulb stripe down the
yeah.
back.
I've seen it a few times. It I don't know. I think the Oz has it. Uh,
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that if we could get some of that like more striped animals that have a more reduced pattern into the granite, it would help spread out the colors more because the granite there's some granites that have I think that there's different looks to the granite, right? And I think that there's room for people to focus on it. It is scary though because we've already seen that if you do too much line breeding with granite, it can go sideways. So it's a
Yeah.
touchy thing to do. That's why I have the wild cat female, and then I have this other female that
So I'll just
isn't
touch
really
on the
big
granite.
granite.
So 100%, like I used to have granites, geez, like when they first came out, and they would often come out with like tiny little eyes, or you had other little issues with them. Some would have kinky and all that, and it was simply just they were insanely inbred. So once you start odd crossing, if you put one or two wild animals in there and you breed back the hets, then you'll get rid of that. So all my initial IJs were all, I think, all outcross, and I had no granites to start with, and I bred hets to possible hets that were all very spread apart. And since then, I've produced, I don't know, like a ridiculous amount of granites. I've probably produced over 40 easily granites. I've produced a couple of exanthic granites now as well. Shan has one of my babies. I've got a trio that's ready next year of exanthic granites, which is amazing.
Have you guys been able to
So,
do much line breeding for
so kind of like
certain
I'm at the point
phenotypes?
where I'm going to breed brothers and sisters together now of exanthic granites because, well, actually they're half related, and I honestly think that the granites are going to be fine because they've been so outcrossed that the problem is out of there. And when you're talking about the different patterns, you're right. There are some granites that are like really speckled, and you've got other ones that you have like these almost a zebra pattern behind it, like it's like blotches, and you see the pattern in between. So there's definitely different looks. I'd say most of my granites are just speckled. You don't really see patterns on them.
So just want to interrupt for a sec. I just sent you guys both a picture. It's of a pure reduced pattern Darwin on Facebook. And it's similar to like our Darwin and IJ are similar. So I'm thinking maybe that kind of is what you're looking at. What do you think? No? Is that what you're trying to
Is
talk?
that a
I don't know how
Darwin?
to put it on here. So that is a
Yeah,
Darwin, yeah.
I can open my Facebook. If you keep chatting, I'll open it up.
I don't know. I don't know how to
When
pull
I
that up.
before I ever got a carpet python, I saw a picture of a snake, and it was really reduced pattern. Like it was almost all like this taupe, like grayish brown color, very light, and it had orange and brown speckles on it. And I messaged the person. It was on Facebook, and I was like, what morphs it, like how did you make this snake that looks like that? And they told me it was a granite jag, but I found that I should have saved that photo because I have never been able to find it again, and I
It
almost
was
feel
that
like
Phil
I just
Starkey?
imagined it.
Was that Star Python's post
I
or
you
no?
know it was a long time ago, and it was
Yeah,
just a random photo that I saw on Facebook.
yeah. He's posted
But
some
I don't
recently that look
I
kind of
don't
like
even
that.
know who, but for some reason I thought that the person was in the U.S. Maybe was Star Pythons in the U.S. or they're
Germany.
German, right?
Germany, yeah.
Yeah,
So question off.
but I don't know. It could have been them. They have some crazy
So
looking
question when you get these carpet python eggs, are you going to do maternal incubation or are you going to put them in incubator? Yeah.
incubator. Yeah,
Um,
I tried maternal
did
incubation
you?
one time, and it ended up disastrously with a ball python. But it was my own fault because I kept thinking that the eggs kind of desiccated, like there wasn't enough humidity, and I tried to add humidity, and some of the eggs died and rotted, and it was just a big mess. Whoa, that looks really cool. That isn't what I'm thinking, but that is really amazing. That is.
That's what I was kind of like thinking that you were thinking.
So I'm almost the more opposite, but that is
I would
really
think
rad.
that's a reduced pattern. So that's an a Darwin and not an, but Darwin and IJ are similar, but I mean
Or
similar.
that is like, see, that's like almost the opposite of what I'm
Okay.
thinking. Because that would be, in my mind, more pattern, like so much pattern that the pattern is just taking over the whole snake.
Yeah.
But that is amazing. So I'm thinking more of like a jag, like making a jag, but without the jag gene, where the jag reduces the saddles down to like little tiny things, and so that's what I was thinking when I said it. It's so hard to talk about morphs, right? Because we like have our ideas of like this is a, like in your mind you're imagining what I, and I, you thought of the complete opposite of what I was
Okay.
saying.
No, no.
But yeah, I just wanted to make it so that there was more of the background color for the granite to maybe spread out the speckles
Okay.
more, and hopefully still keep some of the color, because I love the one of the reasons why I like IJs and Darwins so much is how they're more colorful in my opinion than the coastals and the,
Agreed.
even, well, I mean, jungles are really orange and black, they're colorful too, but they're not as many colors, or
Yeah, I think
yellow.
I
I like
Yeah.
the IJs the most
I
too,
agree.
out of the
They
that like general complex.
yeah, for sure. They have like three or four different colors that can make different patterns, or it is different than your normal jungle where you have just black and yellow, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, jungles are beautiful too. I'm not trying to say they aren't, because obviously they are.
Oh yeah. And I would almost like, me personally, I like the normal IJs, like the those normal IJs that have like the nice orange. I guess you could say that's
Yeah.
coming through.
I
I
know
like that
Yeah.
blushing. When
That
IJs have
that's
nice
what I was,
blushing, that's the
Nick's
best.
got some nice
to
stuff.
add orange, and the orange, and because it seems like the granite just kind of is brown and black, and like some, my male has a lot of yellow on his face, like he's very yellow. Um, but I don't know. It seems like we don't ever see any of the orange in the granites, right? Do you guys ever get any of that in yours?
So
Uh,
I have a female that I got from Dom 2 years ago, a 2024 female, and she's a granite 100% het for exanthic, and she's yellow, not orange, but yellow, but just granite. So pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then like the season that just passed, 2025, you put them side by side, basically the marble and her, and it's like wow, it's like
Do you
it's
do you guys feel like certain, like if you were gonna make a marble is an exanic granite,
yes.
right? So if you wanted to make a really nice exanic granite, would you start out with a like you would look for a like if you were starting out with like a het, and would you try to find a certain look in the het animal? Like would you want it to be a,
So Dom would probably
like,
be better at answering that. I mean, could you tell if a het was a het exanthic, like so a granite het exanthic has any signs
So
that it is het for granite? Is that basically what you're het for exanthic?
no, I just was wondering, like when you're picking out your animals, if you have it, or even if you're like you're picking out your granite animal and you're gonna want to make it eventually into a marble, are there certain looks
Poison
you're
ivy.
looking for with your
That's what you
granites?
want.
Like you're looking for like really dark animals, or the more yet, like you said, the yellow one. Would that yellow one put added with the exanic, would it make it a more white snake in the end when you get the marble in, or the marble?
I mean, so when you look at exanthic, exanthic is reducing yellow pigmentation, right? So, and exanthic is an incomplete dominant. It's not a like everybody thinks it's recessive, but it is not. It's incomplete dominant, which means that when you have only a het or a heterozygous, you will have a reduction in pigment. Now, a reduction of yellow might be 15%, it might be up to 40%, it might be even more. I have one of my hets that looked exanthic 100%, but she wouldn't breed as an exanthic. She bred as a het. So really, it's a sliding scales. So some of them you will be able to tell that they're hets, and other ones you will not. And when they're homozygous exanthic or the super form of exanthic, it's really hard because it's an incomplete dominant, right? So it's when you have the super form, then you could have some that breed like exanthics and don't even barely look exanthic. So because let's say you put hets between 15 and 40%, and you put exanthic between 35 and 80% reduction of yellow. So sometimes you'll have full exanthics that barely look exanthic, and sometimes you'll have hets that look more exanthic. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
Yeah, just you want to pull back your really, but if you're looking for like really white ones, eventually,
So
you just want to keep holding back your whiter
so in
ones.
the case of the one that I have, Dom, mine's my het. You wouldn't be able to tell that it's het xanthic. It's yellow. It doesn't show any signs except that it's lighter than a regular granite. So any other granite that I put it beside, so one of your granite het for xanthic, they I mean it's not up to size yet, right? It's only a yearling. It's a 2024 female, but definitely
Yeah.
different. You wouldn't be able to tell that one you told me is 100% het for xanthic. So I'm excited to put that one to the marble.
Have you have you guys, in all your times of breeding carpets, have you noticed anything with the silver eyes? Is that hereditary or is it totally random?
It's just so the best way to do it is to look at what color they look like when they're born. So especially in coastals, the gray eye is a huge tell that it is xanthic. In West Papuans, I'd say most of the time it's pretty much, but you're not always going to have it. So it's not as a sure tell. The other thing that I'd say is that the best time to decide which ones are xanthic or not is their first shed. Because like I'll give you my marble, for example. I have one male marble from this year, which is he's white and speckled. He's incredible. My two females that are 2 years old now are not white anymore. They've got color that started coming on, but you have this like they get pigmentation at birth, and then they get this second wave of pigmentation like a couple of years in, usually
Yeah.
about 2 years in. So my marbles that are 2 years old now are not as pretty as when they were young, but they're still marble. But you can tell that they have some yellow to them, just very very faint. So it's one of those things where it's so much easier to just look at the whole clutch and decide who is what right at first, and then you might have to breed it out. But if I showed you the pictures of my two-year olds females, they were white on black. Like they had zero pigmentation at birth, and it was bluntly obvious when you compared them next to the non-exanthics. So, but now they're like I'm gonna say it. They're not as pretty as when they were born.
Yeah, that's how this wild caught female is. She, when I first got her, she was gorgeous. She had like super high contrast. The the pattern in between her saddles was like almost bone white, especially on her lateral sides. It was white, and then it kind of faded up to like gray on the top stripe. But now that she's older, there's like black speckling in it. It's more muddy looking. It's still white on her laterals, but it's not as clean and pristine as when she was a baby. She was, or not a baby, but when she was young, when around 2, she was gorgeous. And now she's not. She's not. I mean, I still think she's really beautiful, but yeah, when she was young, it was like she was a knockout.
So is she starting to invert for you now? You said she ovulated
She
just recently.
ovulated. So I kept thinking that I'm like, did I miss the ovulation? Because she was like getting really big, and I was like, this must be the ovulation, and I just missed the big part of it. And then it was last weekend. I my mind. I'm too old now. I'm like can't keep track of time. Like time is so fast now. It was either last week. It was last weekend, I think, or maybe the weekend before. I was like, I clean out all my enclosures, and everybody gets fresh water every weekend. And I grabbed her thinking that, I was going to put her into her hide box and clean out her enclosure. And when I grabbed her, I was like, holy crap, she felt like a rock. And then when I looked at her, I'm like, oh my God, poor thing. She's ovulating, and I'm grabbing her. And it was like undeniable. So she's still not even like, she's, just hiding out in her hide box, and she's starting to get a little cloudy. Like she's starting to go into shed, but, so I probably have like a few weeks before she even sheds.
Yeah, I love that moment when you grab a snake that's ovulating, you lift her up, and like her coil looks like a corkscrew that's not really coming down, like a slinky almost, and it's so bluntly obvious,
really
like you were saying.
I think they must be having like horrible cramps when they're doing it. Like their muscles are just so tight. And her actually I had never noticed this on another snake, but her closer towards her tail, her belly scales were actually like concaved in. That's how like tense her tail was. It was like sucked up. And I was like, poor thing. I felt so guilty for like moving her. But I was like, well, I already halfway moved you. I'm going to clean out your enclosure. So I put her in her tub. And
yeah. Whenever I'm uncertain if it's an ovulation or not, I pull them out. It's the most obvious thing. As soon as you hold them, you feel it. You like just lifting her up, and you notice that the body's not draping. Like it's hard as a rock, and it's staying stiff.
It's hard to tell, especially when they're in the enclosure, like in the back corner, and you're like trying to look, and it's hard to tell. That's why you're like, oh, this must be the ovulation. But I did it twice. I'm like, this has to be the ovulation. But I do that every time. Like any snake, I'm like, is she ovulating? And then the thing where you take the picture and you send it to your friend, and you're like, does this look like an ovulation? And they're like, you can't tell from a picture anyway.
Does that sound like me, Dom?
Yeah, I think we both do that to each other. It's like, you think she's, and I'm like, dude, there's like a centimeter of white between each scales. Of course it's an ovulation.
Like, does that look like a mini ovulation to you? Come on, that kind of looks like it, right?
I think we all do that. It's just one of those things.
Real ovulation, you're like, this is definitely the ovulation.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you've got that. Are those your only carpets? Just the IJs, or do you have anything else? Yeah. I'm just like a little hobby breeder. Like last year I had one clutch, and I was like stoked. I was like, that's fine.
Is there any carpets you want to keep in the long run?
Oh, like other carpets? Well, that's what so once these babies hatch out, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm going to hold back a pair, and because they'll be 100% het, and I want to try to like pick out the ones that have the most, like, not reduced pattern, but like have a bigger stripe and have more space in between the saddles to try to blow out the pattern on the granite eventually when I can breed them back to, because my goal is to breed them back to each other, not to breed them back to their dad. That way they'll have more of the mom's wild genes. I mean, there's no way of knowing that they will, but maybe, especially if I pick out ones that look more like her. But it's hard to tell when they're little tiny babies, so.
They're still going to be 50-50. If you breed the babies to the babies, they're still going to be 50-50. You're not going to make them any more wild caught. Now, some might.
Well, some might have more of the babies.
It doesn't work exactly 50-50. At least it's right. No. Right? It works like some are way more, like some are way less.
Because
fluid.
You don't give 50% of or 25% of each of your grandparents' genes away. You give
So
like a mix. It's
let me just say it differently. So the phenotype, you might have some that will look more wild caught and some that will look more like dad, right? That always happens, but you get exactly 50% of mom, 50% of dad. Your babies are 50% of each of the parents, right?
yeah.
So they're 50% wild caught, 50% from the granite, the other ones. So technically, if you breed a baby to a baby, you can't increase the amount of wild caught blood there is in there or not. Like you might be able to pick offsprings that will look more towards one phenotype of the parent than the other, but they're still going to be the same amount. Like unless you breed it back to a wild caught or back to, I think it's, you said you're female, then you would go back to now having 75% of mother's blood and 25% of father's blood. Then they would be a lot more wild caught or much more wild, I guess, is, I don't know. Much more of that bloodline, let's put it that way.
Well,
Does that make sense?
I'm
Or?
thinking maybe if they hatch out and I can tell if they have silver eyes, that will be like maybe they will have more of their mom's looks since she has the silver eyes and he has like black eyes.
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely do that. You can selectively breed whatever it is you want, and that would 100% work.
We'll see. I don't even have the babies yet, so.
Well, you've got probably what, like another 5 to 10 days until she sheds if you're saying she's in blue, and then you got about 21 to 30 days until you get some nice pearly white eggs. So hopefully they'll all be good and you'll get, well, I was going to say you get some granites in there, but you'll get 100% hets.
Yeah, I'll get heads and then hopefully the babies kind of look like the mom. And
But there'll be a
but you can't really tell what the babies look like, right? And when they first hatch out, because they go through such a change. Like they'll hatch out red, and but will I be able to tell what color their eye is?
You want to answer that, Sean?
I would think so. Should be able to.
Will they be red
Like
and then eventually turn either black or silver?
I don't know if they'll.
So
be,
the red,
Go ahead.
yeah, the red usually the red usually is what we like. The whole body is red, right? So that goes away. They don't keep that red, but it takes a couple of sheds. I don't really know how long it takes, like a couple of months, and that's usually gone. Now the eye color, I'm trying to think, like it's tough because I associate the gray eye with xanthics, and in coastals it's super obvious. In IJs, it's not that obvious. Like it's not a. I personally don't use it as a like. If it's got silver eyes, it's guaranteed this. But it tends to be an xanthic when it is. But I think yours don't have any xanthic at all, right?
No.
So are you sure? Are you sure it's not a het?
She has bright yellow on her
Okay,
saddle.
but the male. Does the male have any
male,
gray eyes?
He's not. He's just a granite. He's
Okay.
just a granite. But maybe someday, that is, Shan, to answer your question, maybe someday I will add xanthic and make marbles like you guys.
But every baby should be 100% het for granite, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
I'm correct with
Because
that.
the dad is
Yeah. So if he's a visual granite, say recessive gene, you should get all 100% het for granite. But regular looking babies is what I know of. And then if you breed them back to each other, you have a 50% chance, or 66. If you breed 200% hets together, you would get 66% chance, right? Am I correct with that?
Well, you would get, if you breed a het to a het, 25% of them will be granite, and then the 75% that will not be granite will be 66% possible hets.
Oh, so
That's
if
the
I really
genetics.
wanted granite, I would have to breed it back, a female to the dad.
Yes.
Well, that would increase your odds. If you bred a female back to the dad, then you'd have. Well, it depends, right?
50%.
Because no, they are. So yeah, you'd have
50%
50%. So then,
At that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
I don't know.
I was
I don't know what's
curious
best.
about, like, I'm really excited about this clutch. I really hope some of the babies turn out to look like the mom. Maybe I'll just have to like keep them all and raise them up and then pick out my favorites.
Well, to give you an idea, so my first pair of West Papuans that I got, they were sold to me as Exanthics, I think 66% possible head granites. And I had this pair. And then it turned out that after I went through the whole thing, I got ripped off. It turned out that they were het exanthic possible head granites. And now I was starting with that, and it is from that original pair that I ended up producing marbles eventually. One of the I think it was the female. The female turned out to be only het exanthic. The male turned out to be het exanthic and het granite, so a double het. And from that, it took me like 4 generations to produce all the missing pieces that I needed to eventually get there.
That's really cool, though.
and I started from there. And at first, it was simply like, again, we're talking about 12 or 13 years ago, but it took a while to get there. But I produced my first marbles 2 years ago, and I produced again some last year. And right now, we're proving out more. Like the pair that I sent to Shan because he needed the male, we're proving one of the 2 outs because all those they're either granite 100% het exanthic or the opposite, and one of them will be possible het. So it's all about proving out who is who, and I've raised up like 5 or 6, and we keep doing different pairings. Even though I have the combinations to produce marbles, we're proving all the other adults to see how many I have to go, but now I'm at the point where in a year or 2 I can produce marble to marble, so it'll make it a lot easier.
So, I mean, I've waited 3.5 years for this female to get up to size and to prove her out. I can't just throw off and say, now I have a granite 100% het for exanthic ready to go. So I have to try. Why not?
You do, but I gave you a male exanthic granite. Like literally, it is you have everything you need now.
Yeah, it was giving me good stuff.
Do you guys like the marbles? Do you think it's a really pretty look, even as they like? Do you like that look?
It is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I couldn't believe when he gave that thing to me. And I'm like, he's like, well, I'm giving you this one, but mine's better. It was better. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, this thing it's incredible. Yeah. It's basically gray with like a little splash of black and then white. And, if it's anything like mine, a little... Oh no, his is pretty good.
I love the pattern on the granite's face.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I tried to take out the het granite, and she was having it. I was gonna get bitten. I was like, no.
See, I think if you do that's really pretty. I love how you can, because some granites it's more, there's less of the white, the space in between the color. I love it when it gets more spread out like that one, Dom. Like you said, kind of almost like a zebra.
Yeah, so you see how it's obvious, right? This is an exanthic granite. Yeah. It's the colors of ours. So my 2-year-olds are not that pretty anymore already. So to me, it was obvious when I hatched it out. But if I showed it to you, but those are, I don't know, they're a little bit further. But
do they gray out or do they brown out?
It's more that some of the reds come out, some of the yellows come out just a little bit. And because of that, you look at it and you're like, it just looks like a really pale granite is the best way to put it. Okay. So it's not as pretty. Like if I was to sell it, I'd be showing pictures of a 1-year-old because like they're gorgeous.
Well,
gorgeous.
You can't stop now. After all these years, you have to keep refining it.
Oh, for sure. It's It's definitely the goal.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see like if you could even line breed Exantic, or like Lisa was in like talking about maybe finding the right base like wild caught normal IJ to go with and breed that, get Exantic into that, and then see maybe getting that into the granite and then line breeding it maybe in with the granite and outcrossing and in like kind of refining it in a way that gets the most kind of silver or white into it while not just while not just keeping the
Yeah, that's
extremely
why I
busy
was
granite.
curious if the yellow, the high yellow, breeding that into the Xanic would make it more white since it just. But if you said that the yellow comes back in after the second, like that second wave of color pigmentation.
It does, but it's not that strong. Like don't get me wrong, it looks completely opposite of a granite, but there's still a little bit of reds and a little bit of yellow that come in, but they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
See, the next project now is do you breed your marbles with the albino? Because technically they're both variegata.
Or
I say no because albinos are not my flavor of the month. Like I'm like gross.
but maybe refine that though, Dom, right? Like out of so breed marble to marble and take the best of the marble and then go from there again and then breed it back to either one of the moms or the dads or one of my siblings and your siblings and take the whitest or the grayest. I don't know. I, I don't
I'm
know if it'd
curious
make a
what that
difference or not. Not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, my male marble is 50% genetically, like as a different mom than my two females, so they're already 50% off. But the pairing that's at your house now, that one is, I think it's 50% different than both of those. They all have the same male. Actually, no, yours is a different male. I don't know. So they're all slightly off, but they have some genetic similarities. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have fun with it. I don't know how well they're gonna sell because I've never sold a marble. I don't know if there's an actual market for it because I mean it's not a cheap snake, right? I don't know how much you guys would pay in the States for it, but I don't know. I assume it's over $1,000 or.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of them. I don't know if there's any on Morph Market, but I don't look that often. So, but I think it's a rare combination to find available.
Well,
Does
when we had the episode with Nick Mutton, he had two for sale, and how long ago was that? So he had two at the time, and he'll probably going to produce some this year, but how many more are out there? Like it's true, it's pretty hard to make,
Nick is who I got that really beautiful
right?
that one that I call the female. She's not het for anything. She's just a really beautiful. She has tons of lineage. IJ a normal wild type pattern, but her pattern is just blown out. The saddles are like all separated. She has super high clean contrast. Her saddles have like really beautiful orange flames in them that come up from her dorsals before they finally turn brown at the top. And she has a really beautiful black outline in all of her saddles. She's just gorgeous, like the chef's kiss. Like I'm like when I think of an IJ, this is what I think of.
Yeah,
I
that's the IJ that I want. One thing I really wonder though is what do you guys think like poison ivy would look like one of those animals bred into Xanthic, like or bred into granite? Like would that just make like a fully black or brown like pure IJ, or would it almost enhance it? Like I think I kind of think it would just like kind of just add more melanin to it and kind of brown it out. Like I guess you would get like a really dark Maclots looking, like maybe even like a dark, like you know those granite zebras kind of thing where they're like just like a solid color.
Or
Like I
like
feel like it'd be like
or
that but
look like
dark
a
maybe.
diamond that's like black and brown instead of black and yellow.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I wonder what Eric thinks. Eric's the one with all that
So
stuff, so he should
I
maybe
feel
try
it's
that.
undocumented. Like we haven't proved it out, is what I'm saying, right? So we don't know if like there's a gene there. We know that it turns animals really dark. That's what Eric said. So it is a possibility that those animals would be darker, but I would think it would just be making hats there, right? Wouldn't, am I not right? Maybe darker
Well,
hats, but they
you know,
would be hats.
from what, yeah, well, if you breed it to Xantic or Granny, you'd be getting hets
Yeah.
for sure, because that
Well, it
gene is,
No, they
sounds
might be
didn't
dark looking hats.
yeah. They would like you would get a certain percentage probably being that IMG kind of thing, right?
well, am I wrong? Because I think that those aren't those animals just the offspring of poison ivy. They haven't been bred back to each other. So it
I think
sounds
you're
like
right.
if it is a gene, then it's a dominant gene. So you don't need to.
Yeah,
They're already turning black after just
exactly. Or maybe there is a super or something. Maybe you do get like
yeah
a solid
yeah
black,
maybe there
but he
is.
has to breed him back first.
Yeah, they'll be even more black, which is totally insane to think about.
Yeah,
I
I think
I really hope because I think he's going to be doing it, trying to do it this year. So let's let's all root for Eric to prove
Ab-
that out because that would be really
Absolutely,
sick.
and basically all I'm saying is just I didn't I just don't know what the outcome is because we don't really know right at this point.
Yeah, we're getting
We're,
ahead of our
right.
skis.
I mean, this is still kind of new territory.
It's just fun to talk
It's
about
kind of new
it.
Oh
territory,
yeah,
right?
for
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
no, exciting though. Can't wait to see what comes out of that.
Yeah. Already,
I
do we want to pivot the conversation to maybe some other species that Lisa keeps?
Yeah, we have to
so
talk about white lips.
well we can either
Well,
do white lip.
maybe we can start with the what's
Yeah,
in that enclosure
or like
behind you.
what's in your What's your collection? First of all, I don't know.
So I'm a python person. So I have some ball pythons. I did the whole the 2020 ball python. You have to have ball pythons and make $1 million. So I got a couple ball pythons, and actually I have like 9 of them. Actually, I think I have more ball pythons than anything else. But so I actually have a clutch of ball pythons that I got in 20 that are in the incubator right now, right here. This is my incubator. And so I got them in the 2020 ball python craze, and so hopefully they're tri-stripe to hypo tri-stripes. Hopefully, fingers crossed. They're het tri-stripe, I should say. So we'll see. I might get a tri-stripe. I might not. With my luck, I probably won't. But so I have the ball pythons, and then I have the 3 carpet pythons. I have southern white lips. I'm raising up some northern white lip pythons. I probably won't be able to pair them for a few years because I've been feeding them, like growing them very slow. I have a pair of ring pythons that I'm also growing really slow. I have a pair of Sonoran boas. I have the southern white lips that I've been really lucky to get 3 clutches. Actually, I got 4 clutches and 1 clutch died. So, and then I think that's my whole collection. Yeah, so that's it. That's my collection.
Did he
So
move
pretty.
the fire skinks along? Or
Yeah, I found a. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally skipping. I skipped all my scrubs. So I have some scrub pythons, and I had to move the skinks on because they had a really big enclosure. Even though they're just little tiny skinks, they needed a big enclosure. So I moved them so I could fit a big enclosure into the. Their scrubs are still small, but eventually I'm going to need that space for the scrubs.
What type of scrubs do you have?
So this is what happened. I was trying to buy tannin bar scrubs. They're the small ones that stay around 6 to 8 feet supposedly. They can get bigger because I know there's someone down in LA who has a 9 foot one. But I bought them from Florida where they're not allowed to have amethystina, but they sent them to me and they're little red babies. And I was like, are these amethystina? And they all turned out to be amethystina. So I have amethystina now. So they're just the cheapest, plainest, scrubs that you can buy. They're the common ones.
The Marukis, right?
Yeah, the Meraki's, or wait, how do you say that?
I don't know.
But yeah, they call them that. But I think Meraki is just the city, so you just call them like Southern scrubs. Like they're not the Highland type that are more colorful and are more heavily patterned. But I do love them. They're actually really great pythons. They're really cute. They have the big ol' eyes. They have lots of personality. And so at first I thought I wanted to sell them, but I kind of fell in love with them. So I'm going to keep them. What's really neat about them is they all have really nice stripe pattern. Like they have reduced pattern on the sides and they've got a stripe down their back. And so I'm like, looks like I'm going to try to breed striped Southern scrubs someday.
How are their temperament?
Well, they're sweet. They're really sweet. As they're getting older, the female, she bit me the other day, but it was like a food response bite, and it was when I was getting her out, and she was hyped up, and I wasn't really paying attention. I had her on my arm, and she bit my arm, but it was she bit my arm, but she immediately I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but have you ever had a snake do a food response bite and then it's like, oh, they realize, wait, this isn't food, and then let go right away? It was kind of like that. I didn't have to she didn't go in for the kill and wrap my wrist or anything like that. So it was a really soft, nothing, barely drew blood. And then I have also, I have some wild-caught tannin bars. I did eventually get some. And they're still I tried to take them out of quarantine, and then I ended up I realized that they had parasites. So not mites, but internal parasites. So I put them back into the quarantine and put them on I gave them the what is it?
Ivermectin?
No, not
Flagell?
Flagell, and then another one too. But they're doing great. The male, he doesn't like to eat anything other than chicks and quails. But the female, she's getting really big, and I was originally gonna house them in a big 5 foot enclosure that I had was all set up with branches, and but I decided to go the Eric Hernandez route and build 2 smaller enclosures side by side with a entryway, because they are not tame. They do the whole thing where they try to bite you in the face and then they'll pee on you. So I think the whole thing with the door is going to be key. I also got a baby that I'm raising up from Eric. So I have a captive bred male. So we'll see.
That's pretty cool. Just by curiosity, your Marukis, are they exanthic or patternless or both?
They're not, none of them are patternless. I'm one of the rare people that like the patternless ones. I think they're really beautiful. I have a thing for patternless snakes, I guess, because I really love the white lips too. But I kind of am almost curious if maybe these striped ones are het patternless, because they're very reduced pattern. One of them, I have 2 females and a male. One of the females, her stripe is on her back and she has a little bit of pattern on there, and her tail is almost completely, it's almost like someone took a an eraser, and like you can see a faint pattern, but it's like almost patternless except for the stripe that goes down at the top of it. It's really neat look.
Yeah, because we got, well, Shan has our pair that we bought together. I'm just not allowed to have them because they're not legal here. But our pair are Xanthic patternless, which apparently is the most common Maruki type out there. So
no, I think you're getting them. Are you sure you don't have tannin bars?
Oh, they're
No.
Marukis.
They're Marukis.
So mine are really nice, but they pee on me all the time. Anytime I try to move them and everything, I don't know. At least I'm not getting bitten, but even the slightest movement from one cage to the next, and they just want to pee on you all the time. And I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Mine do not pee. I'm wondering if you have tannin bars. How big are they?
Uh, I would say the male is like over 6 feet, and the female, I don't know.
7
Are they
feet
Seven
little,
feet.
easily.
like size of a golf ball? A little bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you do have Marukis.
They're
Long. We went through
So-
them with
Never realized
Stephen
that-
Cush.
I don't think pattern. So you're thinking of tannin bars. The tannin bars. It's really hard to get a patterned tannin bar. My male is a patternless axanthic, and my female is a patternless xanthic. It's hard. You almost like you're really lucky if you get your hands on a patterned tannin bar, but the patterned Marukis are actually like really common, and I didn't even know that there was a xanthic. Like I haven't seen, like I'm not a scrub expert, but I didn't know that the axanthic Marukis were common.
So
They're
we're
more like
far
a
from.
bronzish, like they're not gold. I would say they look bronze. They have a bronze.
That's
color.
what I would say ours are.
So we're.
I don't feel like
Okay,
they're
then
not
we
Xanthic. I
They're
don't know, man.
they're
Well-
yeah, the xanthic tannin bars they look gray. They look like gunmetal gray.
So the best thing I can say is that we asked Kush to take a look at all the pictures, and to Kush it was Marukis and they're Xanthic patternless.
Okay.
So and they were sold to us as Marukis. They were like $130. Like let's be honest, like they were super cheap to import. They're wild caught. So
Well,
to
if
me
he
they're
said that, then I would trust him over me.
yeah.
'cause-
That's. Do you have green trees as well?
Yes, I do, and I'm like falling into the green tree python hole.
Ah.
It's like super easy to do because it's watching them change colors is insane. You can't stop looking at them.
So how about you tell us what you have as green trees, what type, and I think you bred them last year, so I'd love to go into that
was
as well.
my clutch last year. I got a clutch of so the female is a wild caught Aru, and the male is in quotations an Aru, but there's suspicion that I showed him to a few different people that are really like know a lot about green tree pythons, and they think that there's a chance because he came from the farm, and I think some of those farms they were crossing the different species to make and to try to like, because I think that in the hobby people really like hybrids for some reason more than they like the full species. So the male is an Aru, but I say that with quotations. So my babies are like a mystery. They're mystery mutts, probably. But the sad thing is they could be 100% Aru, but I just don't know 100% for sure. The person who I bought him from swears up and down that he is an Aru, so he could be an Aru, but. But the Arus, they hatch out yellow, so you only get yellow babies with the Arus. They're the southern type, and all my babies were yellow. Well, the female, she's obviously an Aru. The Arus have these like stubby tails. They don't have a point on the end. And my male, his tail's just a little too pointy. Like, that always made me suspicious about him. And when I showed his picture to someone, they said that he looks like an Aru Sarong cross. And I'm like, well, it's hard to say. Ryan Young said, it's hard to say. He wouldn't say either way, really. Yeah, so I sent you some pictures so you could see examples of from the day they hatched out to how they are now a year later. And
can you guys see that well enough, or do you want me to blow it up?
And you can see the difference, how some of them are very green, and then that one in the right-hand corner on the bottom that's not a baby picture. That's how it looks today.
I mean, they're gorgeous. I'm assuming I believe Aru are all yellow neonates, right? So you got all yellows?
Yeah. There's no reds.
But Aru is known.
Everyone likes the red ones so much, and I like the red ones too, but I think that if you want blue, I don't know. There's something about the yellow ones in the pattern, because in my very limited experience, I haven't raised up any sarongs. I've only raised up Arus, and my one mystery male that is supposed to be an Aru, and they're yellow and with these like dark red, almost black pattern. It's like black, it turns black, and then eventually that as they turn green, the black kind of fades out to blue, and so you get this really nice blue and green snake. And I've only raised one red snake, and it was a Biak, so the Biaks don't have as much blue, so it's hard for me to say, because I think that the red like poultry and the red poulters especially, I think they have a lot of blue too, but I think the Biaks don't have as much blue, because I raised that one Biak from a baby, and it just turned green with like some black speckles on it.
Yeah, see, Biaks are definitely my favorites, just because I find that they're the ones that have the most contrast, or for a locality, to me, they're the ones that I really, really want. And I've got the green tree bug. I've had it for about 3 years.
I know. I feel so bad about what happened.
We're still trying to get some, and we're gonna be re-importing. And I don't want to buy captive bred. Like I have zero interest, because, like you were saying, most of the captive bred are all crosses or hybrids, and to me, it's just like, it doesn't do it for me. I don't care how beautiful it is. I can appreciate the beauty of an animal, just like when you look at like all the gamma jags or the diamond jag cross jungle crap and all those kind of things. They're incredibly beautiful, but I don't want them. So to me, the idea of starting with Walcots of a specific locality is just, it's all I want. So they're worth less money, but to me, it's exactly what I wish. So we're getting them, like, just to give you an idea, I'm looking into buying Cambro tubs just to have the yearlings in there. We had already built our baby racks for quarantine for all our babies. We're going to be very ready by the time we have them. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that with those, the wild caught one, or with the, if you're going to breed locality to locality or species to species, I think you could do the exact same thing that people do when they breed the hybrids to each other. They're just trying to accentuate certain phenotypes, and so they're doing the lines, like you want to try to breed the lines to each other to accentuate certain phenotypes, and you can do that just as easily with, obviously we do it with carpets, we could do it with green tree pythons too.
There's nothing wrong with the designers, and I know it's just the green tree python world seems to be very, very focused on the designers, and it's very weird when everybody talks about designers but kind of forget, or it's like on the backside, right? There is a lot of
You know
purist
what?
people
It
out there.
reminds me of the ball python. You know, like everybody saw the Pompeii ball python, and before you knew it, everyone wanted to make a Pompeii ball python, and so they all want to make the same exact snake.
Yeah, I mean it's tough though. Like when you see like the sickness or some of those animals, they're insane. Like the black pigmentation on them is incredible. So I get why people want to create that. And again, I love looking at them. I love listening to it all. But I'm a purist at heart, and
You
I
could
don't
make a
think
black
I'll
snake
ever
though.
cross them.
You could make a black biot. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying.
could. Yeah, and if I do, it'll be pure biak, guaranteed.
So
Yeah. Um, I like the blue and the white. When they have like it's a really bright green snake and it has the green pattern or the blue pattern and then the white in between it. And when you see that, if you set up a big enclosure like this that has like the plants so they can hunt in the plants at night when the lights turn off and the whites, you can see the white speckles with because they do this like really cool like hunting pose where it's like an S, you know, that traditional like python pose, and you can see the white. It's like you can't see the snake, but you can see the white speckles in the shape of an S. It looks so cool. It gives me goosebumps just to think about it. It looks really badass.
Not sure if Shannon was
So,
going to ask a question, but
yes. So my
there you go.
question
Go
I
for
want
it.
to I didn't want to cut anybody off. So Aru is known for white, right? And then Sarong is known for blue, right? Am I correct with all that? Like for more
Yes, but
common.
it's not really true. So you actually go um, on Facebook or Instagram, you can find pictures of wild snakes in the wild, and there's tons of white ones in the Pulcher area, the Utorensis, the ones that are up in like the northern part of New Guinea, like the north side of the island. They have a ton of white too. I saw this one guy, he was over on the on the PNG side of the island, and he was doing some kind of he is a biologist doing some kind of work, and he was photographing all these grain tree pythons, and they had a ton of white. So you can find white in all of the I think in there's also white biaks too, the biaks that have like their flower, the pattern of their white is really neat. It's like more patchy with like little flowers. It looks really cool too. My biaks, that's what I hopefully eventually hope to breed them someday, and I both of them have a lot of white. Um, the female is still pretty small, um, and she has a lot of white. Even she's a red, and then I have a male. I think he was a yellow. He was mostly changed when I got him, but he has a ton of white, like more white than my Roo.
Do you mind if we go back to your root clutch? So, how many eggs did she lay? How many did you get out? And how was the feeding trials? I'm just curious as to how it worked out for you.
Well, it's hard, but I feel like the feeding is hard but I feel like you will be good at it because of the Antresia. Well, Shan will be good at it. um, I got her in 2020. She was already a full grown adult. I got her from Lucas Lee. Do you guys know Lucas? So he lives like I'm in Sacramento and he's in the Bay Area, so it's only like he's not far from here.
Great guy to have near from you. He was on the podcast for a little
Yeah.
while. We should have him back on.
Yeah,
Agreed.
he was really nice and sold me his Aru female because he couldn't find a male for her, and so I tried to breed her for 2 years, and I would start feeding her. I was keeping her in ambient, like around 80 to 84. That was like the temperature. I wasn't, at night she would get a little bit cooler, but at that point, I was keeping all my green tree pythons in my bathroom, and I was just keeping the bathroom ambient. Because that was my idea, was like when I would take a shower, I would be like, they're getting lots of humidity. But anyways, so I was keeping her ambient, and she was eating really great, and she would start to swell up, and I would think, oh great, I'm gonna put the male in with her now. She looks so thick. And I would put the male in with her. They would lock up, they would mate for like, 12 hours straight, and then they would stop mating, and then she would go off food. And I would think, oh, she's off food. That must have worked. But no, she would just go off food and then stay off food for like 2 months and then shed. And then she was just reabsorbing her follicles. So it wasn't working out in that bathroom. So I built this 4-foot enclosure for her. And I just started cohabbing her with, so originally I was using a different male. It was this young Arut male that I had, but he wasn't doing anything with her, so that's when I put that other questionable male in with her, and they locked up, and but the thing that I did different in this new enclosure, it's in like my main living area, where the ambience stay like in the low 70s, and the this is 4 feet, so that's a lot, because green tree pythons aren't very big, so that's a lot. It's 4 feet long and 3 feet high, so there's spaces in that enclosure where she can get as cool as she wants. She can get down to 73 any time of the year, and she mainly likes to stay up on the top, but on the far side from the heat. And I just started feeding her, and I changed, so not only I also changed, so she can also, the difference is she can get warmer too, because she has a heat panel in there. So if she wants to, she can get a lot warmer than 82, what I was letting her get to. And I found out when she does ovulate, because she's ovulated for me 3 times. So the first time I got her to ovulate, she laid like 21 slugs. It was like 21 slugs, and like a few of them looked like they might make it, and I actually incubated them, and they did grow embryos in them, but they eventually died. They were just too weak. And then the second clutch, wait, no, she's laid, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said 3. She's laid 2 clutches. So the second clutch, this one last year, that I hatched last year, she laid 19 eggs, and 12 of them went the distance. So it's still not really great, but I'm really excited to have 12 little babies. I actually
Those are big clutches. I didn't think they have that big of clutches.
Well, she's a old, big, wild-caught female. She's very big for a green tree python, which is
I
still
think
really
that's
small.
that's the difference between pure animals and hybrids. So if you listen to a lot of the other shows that talk about green trees, the more designer the animals, the smaller the clutches tend to be. You're looking at more 9 to 12 to 13. Usually all the big clutches tend to be from pure pairings, or from at least one of the two is a designer odd cross to a pure female, is what I've noticed, or I've heard anyway.
Well, she is very big too. Like, I think that I think Arus are known to, they are like more like Biaks, where they're known where they can get big. I think it's the other 2 species that stay small.
Do you know why you lost those 7 eggs? Was it right at the start? Was it incubator issues?
Like the first clutch. So I think because I had tried to breed her those other times, and then she would just reabsorb. Part of me wonders if maybe some of that first clutch with all those slugs were just like old follicles that she had been developing and then reabsorbing and then developing, and I don't know. So she had been in captivity for a long time before I got her, and so she may have been developing and reabsorbing follicles for a really long time. So I think she had some old funky follicles in her that she needed to get out. And so those eggs that died, I candled them and I could tell that, when you candle an egg and you're like, oh, I better set this one in the corner of the egg box because the veins just, like, you can only see faint veins. Sometimes they go, but sometimes more than likely they'll just die. And that's what they did. They died pretty fast. Like within a week, I threw them away because they just started dropping off. Like you could see like the mold growing on them, like right away.
Yeah. Most likely they were already dead when they were laid. Because,
yeah. Or, and what I was gonna say, I interrupted. I didn't complete my thought. Is that besides her having the ability to thermoregulate better in this enclosure, I started feeding her bigger food. I just started feeding her jumbo mice and like small rats, when before I was just feeding her like large and small mice. And I think she was just too big for that small amount of food I was feeding her. Because you hear about people saying, oh, don't overfeed your green tree pythons because they'll get fat. And so I had that in my mind. And I wasn't like, when you won't believe your eyes. Like, I should have just looked at her and known that she needed something a little more substantial.
Yeah, very nice. 12 is a huge accomplishment. I mean, I keep talking, me and Shan, about breeding green trees, and like we're so far behind that we still don't even own green trees. So you're way ahead of us on that one.
Yeah.
It's definitely
the
like.
thing is that I did have another female. I had a biot that I got to ovulate, but she died right after she ovulated. She just like, I think that I didn't feed her enough, which surprised me because I didn't think that a female that was too skinny would go through and ovulate, because I've always had females, like, if they didn't want to ovulate or their body was telling them no, they just reabsorb. I've never had it where like a skinny snake would ovulate. And what happened was I started feeding her. She was very ravenous. And then I thought, well, I want her to stimulate the follicles. I'll pair her with this male, because I do that a lot with the white lips and with the I did it with the carpets. I do it with the ball pythons. I'll pair them, but I just keep feeding them while I'm pairing them. But this female, when I paired her, she locked up and went off food. And then she just sat there and started to grow her follicles. And it was so sad because she started getting, I could tell that she was getting skinny. Like you could see her head like get skinny. And then she ovulated. It was like, I didn't know what to do. She wouldn't eat.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes to know what happens. Shani.
I got a question. So I have owned 2 green trees before, but I'm just curious. So you said you have a radiant heat panel. What do you set it at? I know you say ambient with everything else, so I'm cool with just regular, like.
I set it so that they're hotspot, because they have a lot of different for this cage in particular. I do it a little different because my other cages are just 2x2 cubes. But this cage, they can get, if they go under the hotspot, they can get up into the low 90s. If they sit at the top, the highest perch, if they go under there. And they will. Even the male will do it every now and then.
Good to know. Yeah, no.
But in the smaller enclosures, I don't have it as hot. It's not as
What
hot.
would you set that to by the cube one?
It's more like the mid to low, like not low, like mid to like 85 to 87 for a few hours a day, and then it drops back down to like 80, and then the ambient in the room can, depending on what time of the year it is, during the summer, the ambient in the room only goes to like 80. But right now in the winter, the ambient can go, depending on if you're on the floor or up high, 73 to like 65 on the floor.
And does that vary at night as well?
I'm sorry, what?
Does that get cooler at night than 73?
If their cage is on the ground, and what I do is I just the cages that are low on the ground, I make sure that their panels, they're just like the heat mats that I use. I just stuck heat mats in there. So if they want to sit next to the heat mat, then they're just next to a heat mat. It's not even a real, because it's just a little tiny cube. So I don't want it to get super hot in there. It'll be like a hot box.
Yeah,
But
that makes
I just
sense.
make sure that all of them, even like I have the ball pythons, the racks, the bottom rack, the one that's next to the ground, that one I have it set so it's warmer than the ones at the top.
Yeah, that's smart. Like my rack system, the bottom 4 rows are going to be on their own thermostat every couple of rows. So I've
Yeah,
set it
that's
up
how
that.
it's like more like
Yeah,
not the very bottom, but the bottom two.
yeah, exactly. It's a
Because
smarter way to do it.
they will freeze their little tails off if I let them get that cold. Because I'll go in the room and I have the little Govee thermometers everywhere, and it'll be like, oh, it's nice 73, but my feet are cold on the floor, and I temp gun the floor, and it'll say it's 67.
Yeah, it's chilly. So I think it would be wrong of us, Lisa, if we didn't talk about white lips. So at some point, I want to get into this because we're already about an hour and a half.
Sorry.
No, sorry needed. I love green trees. I love carpet talks and all that. But so I've been talking to Mikey a bit, Aslam there, for a little while, and he's got some of your babies as well at his place, and he told me that I got to ask you a question. All right. So I'm going to read you a specific question that comes from him, and I have no idea what it means, but I want to know what you think. It says, 1 second. Oh, I thought I sent it. I got to ask you about... geez, I lost it. Okay, give me 10 seconds. Something about a snake escaping on an Indo ferry. Does that ring a bell at all?
Oh, well, this isn't really my story. This story, actually, I learned it secondhand. Well, okay.
Don't. Okay, I'm going to read it to you again. Don't forget to ask her about the vanishing white lip on the Indo ferry.
Well, there's this mythical southern white lip that there's just this like greedy like screenshot of a video on a crappy cell phone video that I saw from Dan Mallory. He's the one who saw it, and so there was a southern white lip python that was over there, that was white. The picture, it was too hard to tell if it was a albino or if it was like a leucistic or what, because the picture just wasn't good enough. You couldn't. It didn't look like an albino from what I could tell, but it very well could have been. You couldn't see what the eye, if it was pink or if it was blue or if it was like hazel or something. But there was definitely a white lip over there, and the story I heard was it disappeared on the boat on its way from the island over to the main, to like Jakarta or wherever. So it never made it. I don't know. Maybe someone has it out there. Maybe, I like to think about that snake a lot, actually. Like, I wonder if that snake made it. Like, if maybe it did make it off the boat, or maybe if it, like, I hope it's still alive out there somewhere.
Maybe there's more out there, kind of like the Lucy the king cobras, right? How there's multiple leucistics that people found since the first one.
Yeah, well,
Maybe there's multiples.
the one I saw was an adult, so it wasn't a baby. So, and there is a there's an elapid over there that is, it's not all white, but it has a lot of white on it. So white snakes can live over there. So that's what at least that's what I tell myself. So maybe they'll find another one someday. That would be pretty cool.
So, how big is your collection for white lips? Let's go southern and northern. And how many holdbacks did you hold back? Because you've had 4 clutches now, and that's like, I'd be holding everything back. So, I'm kind of curious.
No, I have one holdback female and I have one holdback male. I have my original pair, and then I have another wild caught female that I got. That's the one that I got a clutch from, but then it died in the incubator. Um, I I I over that year I had 3 clutches, and at that time I was just using an igloo incubator, and I had only ever hatched 2 clutches at a time in there, and I'm almost thinking when I tried stuffing that 3rd clutch in there, maybe it like caused a heat spike or something, because it was sucked. The eggs were like a week away from hatching, and I noticed that there was mold. I cut them all open, all dead, fully formed babies. They looked great. There was no reason why I don't know. It's a mystery. I have no idea why they died.
That's rough. That would destroy me.
Yeah. But the thing is about the white lips is they all look the same, so you don't need that many, you know what I mean? If you're like, maybe it would be good to
Or do the
have
northerns vary a bit more than the southerns? Because I noticed my buddy has a pair of the northerns, and like one of them's kind of lighter than the other, but are the southerns kind of like all the same, like you're saying, comparatively?
yeah. There are differences. Like there's my original pair, they have more of, because they do this like color shifting, kind of like a boa, where sometimes they look more silver. Like they'll my big female Pearl, when she it's mainly when she's like developing follicles, and then when she ovulates and is has eggs, she turns like, I think that all of the southern white lips, when they get eggs, that's when they get that really like silver color. They'll get like this black stripe down their back, and then it like, it's, how do you describe that, where it like fades to white from like the black all the way down, and then because of the iridescence, it looks like chrome. Like if you look at it, probably one of the most beautiful snakes. Like when a female southern white lip is gravid and developing follicles, it's really, it looks like a freaking diamond or something, because there's just like rainbows popping off of this like silver snake. It's insane to see.
Oh yeah, I can picture it. I think either you posted a video or picture or somebody
But
else did, but I can picture that in my head right now.
But so she'll look really silver, but then most of the time, and especially like if she's going to shed, she just looks like a really dark brown snake. But I mean, a beautiful dark brown snake, because they're never just like brown or they're just black. They're like, they have rainbows that just like pop off of them. But then there's some that are more black, like they look more black than I think Pearl does. Like Pearl's a lighter one, but I think that um, because of her being lighter, when she turns silver, she turns really, really silver.
Hmm.
Because I've had people like tell me, oh, they want to look at the parents, and then they see that she's more brown, and they're like, oh, I'll look for another one. And I'm like, I try to tell them, I'm like, believe me, this snake looks brown now, but it will turn freaking chrome. like like if you just feed it a big meal, or I don't even know, like it's not like the boas, they seem to do it at night, and the white lips, they just do it randomly. Like you don't really, there's not really a pattern, but I do know that the females will do it a lot when they're developing follicles.
So the big thing I'd love to talk about is that I hear of people having one clutch of white lip here, one clutch of white lip there, right? But the big thing is people tend to have one clutch and then no success for another year or 2 or 5, right? And what is amazing is that you've had repeat clutches after repeat clutches after repeat clutches, right? So to me, that's what's amazing about you, is that obviously you're doing something right that other people aren't doing. So I'd love for you to tell us, how do you breed them? Do you breed them like a ball python? Do you breed them like a carpet python? Do you breed them like your green trees? Like, what do you do differently that other people are getting? Because you've got repeat success.
That is what I do. I breed. Actually, I breed my ball pythons and my carpets and my green tree pythons how I breed my white lips, and it's mostly food cycling. I did try to do temperature cycling the first year that I tried to breed them, and the female she just was like, screw this, because you could tell when they start developing follicles, they just get really thick, and you can tell that it's happening. And I could just tell. I'm like, oh, she's developing follicles. It was in the fall. I had been feeding her a lot, and so I started doing a temperature cycle where I started dropping her temps, and I was doing it pretty low. Like I wasn't being subtle about it. I was like, I'm gonna do this, So I was gung ho, and I can't remember. This was like back in 2020. So I can't remember exactly how low I let her go at night, but it was enough so that she was like, okay. So I was pairing her and they were cuddling, but I didn't see any locks, and I was dropping the temps. Well, she went off food. And so I thought, well, maybe she went off food, and I fooled myself into thinking, well, maybe I'm just missing the copulations. But what she did, she was just shutting herself down. She went into shed. So you don't, temperature cycles aren't a big thing for them. You want to keep them moderate. Like, you want to like give them a hot spot, and then she can get, every day she gets a hot spot. Every day of the year she can get warm. And then at night she goes down, like my room, like I said, the ambience during the summer, the ambient goes down to 80. It can get as cool as 73, but I keep her up more in a medium height, so she's probably never getting lower than that. But I don't even drop her hot spot all the way down. Like her hot spot only drops down to 80, even during the winter time. So if she wants to warm up at night in the wintertime, she can go get 80 degrees. But so you don't have to do the temp cycling. You just need to do really heavy food cycling. And I think one of the things that people fail to do with them is to understand how much food they need. Like, you have to feed them so much that you think you're going to like kill her. Like, you, not maybe I'm exaggerating, but where you're like, is this good for her? Like, you're questioning yourself. When she's done laying her eggs, she looks like a wet plastic bag. She puts all that food into her eggs. So you need to feed them a lot. So I think that might be what people might be not doing correctly, is judging how much food, because you're going to feed her so much. And I feed her during the breeding cycle. So it's a lot of work too. That's the other thing. You can't be lazy with them, because you have to separate them when you're feeding them. So you separate the male, feed them, then wait, then put them back together. They'll breed some more. They'll cuddle some more. Then you separate them. And so while you're doing that, you have to watch your male too, because they'll get skinny. So before the breeding season, like say you're going to breed them in the fall and winter, you want to fast them that summer and then start feeding her in the fall, wait for her to get a little weight on her, then judging how she's doing, then you start your pairing, and then you keep feeding her, and you don't stop. While they're locking and breeding, you never stop feeding her. She'll stop. When she's ready to ovulate, she will stop.
That's really interesting. See, my fear with that technique, and I've heard it a couple of times, is that what if I feed the crap out of my female and then she ends up huge and then doesn't go,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So now
part
you've
of
got a
the
fat
reason
snake.
it's scary.
Sorry, what was that?
That's part of the reason why it's scary. It's not just like, oh, am I like, what kind of monster am I creating?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it is. So you need to kind of, you can't just do it willy nilly. I think you would know, Dom. Like, you have experience with pythons. You can tell when a female's developing follicles and doing all the right stuff. But I have something to admit. I think this real secret to my success is a dynamite stud of a male that knows how to breed females, because I got it. I'm working with a new male now, and I tried that other not Pearl, but Dreamy, the one that she gave me a clutch and then I accidentally killed the clutch. So I tried breeding her this spring. I mean, this fall, I tried breeding her, and it was great. She was perfect and ready. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this happen where you have a female that's ready to mate. If you like tickle her tail, she'll like lift it up and like open her cloaca, like, okay, I'm ready to breed. Have you ever seen that?
nope, I never even thought of doing that, but it's interesting.
Well, this female was so ready to breed. If you even would like touch her tail, she would like lift it up. And you could see the follicles in her. She was ready. And I would put that other male in there, and he didn't want, I don't know what's up with him. I'm hoping that maybe he's a small male, and I'm hoping that maybe he's just not settled in, and I'm worried that maybe he smells my bigger breeder male, and maybe that is making him feel like there's a more dominant male in the area. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So what I'm planning to do is, I'm feeding him up. So the females right now, they're off of food. They've been off food since like early November. Actually, I just started feeding them again. So I started feeding them. I let them, like, they haven't been on food. And so pretty soon I'm going to try doing introductions again once the females like start looking like they're ready. Pearl, I didn't try to breed him to Pearl because he also bit Dreamy, like he was being like aggressive. So I'm afraid to put him with Pearl, because if he tried to act that way with Pearl, I think Pearl would kill him. So Dreamy's a really submissive, sweet snake, and Pearl is more assertive with her body, her space. And so I tried him with Dreamy first, thinking, she's more mellow, and he bit her really bad. She has a scar on her now. Even though she was ready to go, he didn't like her, apparently. So I'm not like the white lip queen that everybody calls me. I have a stud white lip male.
I think you should throw yourself some flowers, because it's, you know what, you hear it all the time, right? If you breed it once, maybe it's luck. If you breed it twice, 3 times or more, you know what you're doing. Or you have snakes that are really good at it, but in the end you're still doing the right thing, right? So I think you should give yourself some flowers there. I'm giving it to you.
I haven't given up. This is actually not my male. It's a breeder loan with a friend of mine, and he's a special male. So that's why I really want him to be the father. So I don't plan on poor Jet. He's such a stud, but he sired 3 clutches, so he can be proud of himself. But he's kind of out to pasture now.
What does special mean?
He has an unusual color. He's one of the I don't know if you've heard of the red ones, the red white lips. So we
Oh
don't.
yeah, the didn't some people like dip them in Kool-Aid, but like I know there's real one because there's real ones that they have in museums and that, and I've heard I think a couple other people mention it, but I remember Owen or
Yeah.
somebody mentioning that somebody tried to fake some as well.
Well, I don't think that they faked them. I never saw the fake one. I only ever saw real ones. There are red ones. There's arguments over what they are. Um, so, but he's very special, and it would be really cool if we could try to prove it out as something that's hereditary.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Do, do you have any female red ones that you
You
know
know
of that
what's
you could
strange?
eventually?
So there's a guy in France. I think he has a red female, but I know of one other person that had a red male in the States, and it's a really good breeder, but just like me, he wasn't able to get it to breed. So it made me feel a little better about it, the situation, but I mean, I haven't given up. I just tried that one time, and so I've been trying to put weight on him, and maybe he'll feel a little more confident if he gets a little more, you know, oomph to him. And I, I did start feeding Pearl because I know Pearl is a really great breeder. Maybe if I do, like, I'm not gonna like. I'm still thinking about it if I want to pair him with Pearl. If I do, I'm definitely going to do it while I'm home.
Is there combat between males? Have you ever considered that or no?
Um, I, I just this male is smaller, and I think that if I tried to do I feel like he's already submissive. Like I think he combat wouldn't make him feel better about himself. It would make him feel worse about himself. I feel like he already.
Yeah, but I mean, like by doing it without like making him a loser. You know, you
I
put him
did
in
try.
there.
So I did put a little piece of shed in there in her enclosure so that he could smell another, but I think that that might be part of the problem is he already can smell the other male. And just I think that maybe they're more like they don't want to combat, they just want to stay away from each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you mean heavy feeding, like, do you mean like big meals, like kind of often, or do you mean like say instead of like or would you do like small rats more often, or like medium or
You
large
can do
rats
either or. You want
less?
to get a lot of weight on the female, you want to see her body condition get really thick. And then as it gets closer to where you're like, she's, you keep thinking you're at that stage where you're sending pictures like, is this ovulation? Then I start offering only small, very small meals.
Okay. Are you keeping those
So,
regularly though until she's for sure ovulating though?
yeah, well, usually what would happen is she will get to the point where she will go up to the food and then just not take it. Like
Oh, okay.
we've probably all seen that where
Yeah.
a female will be like, "Oh, food," and then just sit there and just freeze and like, "Oh, actually, I'm not hungry." Like they change their mind.
Oh yeah. I've seen that even with my colubrids, like my subox. They
Yeah.
go through like that like time at the end of May, I want to say, when they want to breed. Like the females and the males go off food. Like they all just all go off food.
And then after that, then it'll be like, "Get that out of my face."
Yeah. Oh, and so I think what some people don't realize, because everybody, like you see all the import white lips come in, is how small baby white lips actually are. Like, because like I got rings, but I've seen Cody Joe's like month and a half old white lips, and they're They're not that big compared to what you think of a baby white
Yeah,
lip.
yeah. When I first got my original pair, I thought they were like, oh, these are like babies, and now I'm like, they're probably like two.
Oh yeah.
What size do they hatch out in? At
Um,
like
they're
compared
pretty
to
long. They're pretty. I mean, they're not tiny, tiny. I did weigh them, but I don't. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head how much they weighed. I want to say that there was like a they varied. Like there was big ones, and there was one that was probably like the big one was probably like around 70 grams, maybe a little less, and they're pretty long. They're really long. Like they're not that long, but they're long and skinny. They're like little noodles.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the rings are even smaller.
Yeah,
That's
they
where,
are. Their
like, I'm
rings are
like, yeah, they're like pinkies, and even when they get bigger, like you just want to double up on the pinkies
Wait, did you
until they're.
say that you got rings?
Yeah, I got rings from Cody Joe
Oh, cool.
from because
So, you know how everyone says that rings and white lips are the same? I don't think that they are. Like the ring, have you noticed that the little ring pythons, they do they're like twitchy and it at first I didn't realize it right away, but
they're like a king snake. Like
they
they're
remind me of
not. They don't
I
act like a
think they're
python.
doing that. You know how like crates and if have you watched any videos of people with crates or coral snakes in the wild where
Yeah.
they'll like twitch and do that twitchy thing?
Yep.
Do you
That.
see yours doing that? I'm like
Yeah. Like they're just
doing
super flighty too. Like you touch them and they
yeah,
kind of
first
spaz out and shoot out of
they'll
the bin.
spudge out and twitch, and then they'll just take off. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, I think that they are like crate or like coral. I'm like, they do this like twitchy corals or crate mimicry, and I never see the white lips do that. The white lips don't act like that.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense. Now that you're right, right? Like I now think about it.
Warmers are
Yeah, that's
warmers
exactly
are
what
similar
happened.
to
It's
that.
pretty cool.
I find
Where they do this like twitchy
sometimes,
thing, where
yeah.
they're like, where it kind of like they're trying
If
to
you
make
try
you
to
jump
touch their
or
body, they'll
something.
be like kind of do the twitchy thing and then try to figure out what's going on. Yeah.
That's interesting because I have said that they remind me more of womas that like these are jungle womas. They're not like white lip pythons. They're jungle
I
womas.
think when people
Yeah, that makes
think
sense.
of them two to similar, I hear it's because of um, basically their water. Like apparently you're supposed to have changing your water. Fresh water is a big thing with ring pythons, and I hear that with white lips. Um, is that a fact with white lips? Fresh water is a definitely a big thing.
Um, I keep all my white lips have humidity hides. They have like multiple humidity. I make sure that they have multiple humidity hides, and depending on, they also have water bowls that are big enough for them to sit in if they want to. So you have to watch if they're sitting in their water. Then once they get out of it, you need to go clean that because they'll sit in it and they'll like sometimes pee in it or something. But I don't. I have heard people say that the white lips, oh, they die if they don't get water, and I I keep them on paper, and but they have the humidity hide, so I don't. I don't. I'm like, who's not watering, giving their snakes water?
No,
Like
no,
that's
I
what
I get it.
I.
So how do you make your humidity hides? Can you go into that
So
detail?
I just get like a tote from Home Depot or Lowe's, cut a hole in the side of it, and put whatever I happen to have. I use a lot of sphagnum moss, but you can also, I've also used like that shredded cocoa husk or even like bark, something that can hold humidity. And they I think that they like the sphagnum moss the most. They like to do this thing where they take the moss and they mound it up in the middle and then they'll like coil around the moss because I think it gives them extra security to feel like they have something to hold on to. So, But yeah, they spend a lot of time in their humidity hides. The male, he doesn't spend as much time in his humidity hides, but he goes in his water bowl. He likes to go in his water bowl.
Yeah,
So
the
going back,
rings seem to do that as well, where they'll sit in the water bowl kind of thing.
Yeah.
so going back to the water change, I think what I've heard often is not just that they need water; it's that they need to have fresh water. So, like changing the water every day or every second day, is what I've heard for both rings and for white lips. I'm wondering how often do you do your water changes?
I do the
Once a
same
week?
thing. If yeah, it's once a week unless I notice that the male he gets his water changed. If I see him, I notice that he's been in his water, then he'll get a fresh water. But if the water bowl doesn't look like there's any turds in it or it looks clean, then they just get once a week fresh water.
Um,
Yeah, that makes sense. I find the rings with me,
They
they
do
like
drink
because
a lot
they're
of water though. They
yeah.
will chug water.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of snakes, if you give them fresh water even twice a week, like they'll go
Yeah.
to the water dish and get it.
During the
So like,
breeding season, I do change the water more because I'm in and out of there so much. There, I make sure while she's developing her follicles, then I change her water a lot more.
How about the young ones? Are you changing waters only once a week as well, or
Yep,
more often?
once a week, and
Huh.
they, I don't even really give them a humidity hide. Like they just have regular hides, and I'll mist the paper down like once a week. I
Actually,
don't.
that's what.
Yeah, they're not as like crazy hard to keep as people say. I'm wondering if those ones that died of thirst were maybe they had a parasite load that was like making them dehydrated or something.
hmm, yeah, that's fair.
how are the babies to get going?
Oh, they love to kill things, so that like I did have a few babies that would be like, "Oh, give me that. I'm going to kill it," and then throw it across the tub and then look at me and then say, "Now I need to kill you." And so those were a little, that's how hard, like, oh, that one didn't eat. And so then I would have to, like, because they would get, like, really worked up and angry, like, by looking at, like, they're like, I hate your face. But yeah, they're pretty easy. Like, it's a walk in the park to get a white
So
lip.
one question about that, because they're so angry, sometimes I feel like some snakes, when they get to that point, no matter what, if even if you leave the meal in the enclosure with them or in the tub with them, they might not take it. Do you feel that sometimes that happens with white lips, or
Yeah, that's what I meant is that that was like the hardest part is some of them would be like they would kill the they would wrap the little mouse and then real like you can't that one the ones that would get like that you can't stand there and watch them. You have to like kind of be tricky and like not be in their line of sight because it's you. It's that if they start focusing on you then they won't pay attention to the food. But it was never like, oh, this one's not eating. It was like it took it a few times for it to realize that I wasn't going to hurt it, and then they would start eating their, and they grab the mouse and then they wrap it into like a ball. Like they wrap every bit of their body around the mouse and around themselves, so they're just like a little ball around the mouse. And so once they start doing that, then you can just close the tub and then they'll eat it. But I never had it where one was like, "Oh, I'm struggling with this one." There was never ever like there was like a time like, "Oh, this one didn't eat this time." And it's cuz it did that thing where it would like start focusing on me. And then they start doing this thing where they start hyperventilating. And so if you see them do that, then they're probably not going to eat cuz they just are focused on you. But it's never like this one's going to do it every single time. It was like it did it one time and then the next time it ate its food.
so basically a crazy carpet python, basically, because that's
Oh yeah,
eh.
they're like they make. I mean, carpet pythons. that one clutch of carpet pythons that I had way back in 2019, I kind of struggled with those babies. Like, some of them did not want to eat for me. And I ended up selling them to someone for very cheap to be like, I don't want to, these aren't eating for me. Here, you have them. And they got them going. Because I was like, I didn't have time to deal with that at the time. But these aren't like that. It's just so, it's like defrost mouse, put mouse on tongs, give it to the snake, and the snake will like take care of it. And it's so fun to feed them because of how like exuberant, everything about white lips is like, they just ratchet it up to 11. Like, they're feeding a white lip is so fun because they'll like, if you feed them a medium mouse and you have like a 5-foot snake, or not a mouse, a medium rat to a 5-foot snake, and it can still, a 5-foot snake can wrap like a rat to where it's like they have like 3 or 4 coils around that. They wrap like so tight. You want to make sure that you don't over defrost those. Like, don't leave them out for too long, because if they get soggy, you're just gonna have like rat guts all over the enclosure every time. They're fun. You got, if you guys get them, like, other than some, they are bitey. They can be bitey if you're in a hurt, because you have to learn their body language and all that kind of stuff. But if you have womas, and like, you guys are, python people, so I think you're gonna love them.
They're definitely on the list for me anyway. I want a pair of each. A pair of northern and a pair of southern. So
the pair of northerns that I have right now, they're actually really tame. They're super tame. They'd never bite me. I got the male is from, the one thing is that I noticed, like, my holdback female, the southern, that I held her back because she was really, really tame. Like, you could boop her in the snoot. She was like, but now that she's older, and I think that once they get a certain age and they start maturing, their food drive just kicks up. So now I don't trust her anymore, because now she like she's like, does the Woma thing where you'll be holding her and then she'll be like, if you move too fast or something, it'll like click into the food mode, and she'll just want to like try to bite you. And it's just like, I think it's food. It's just, they're so food driven.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my buddy
gotta...
Tyrone has a pair of northerns that apparently were captive bred in the U.S. They're probably like 3, like, they're not that big still, like they're only like probably 4 feet maybe, and pretty thin, but they're puppy dog tame. Like, he can just pull them out of the bin, and they're just fine to hold.
I love mine. I will say that I am a southern. Like, if I had to choose between the two, I would quickly choose the southerns. I just have a thing for them. I don't know. Like, I do love my northerns, but they're not like, the southerns are the bee's knees for me. Like, I love them. Like, when you have a snake and you like, if like, she'll be in her tub and I open the tub and it's like, what movie was it where they would open, was it not Kill Bill, that Quentin Tarantino movie where they would open the suitcase and it was just like this light came out of the briefcase, and they were like, whoa. Like, that's how I feel when I look at Pearl. I'm like, I can't believe that this is a real thing. Like, no other snake makes me feel that way when I look at her.
It's good to have a passion. I feel...
I'm embarrassed now because I
No.
on and on about it.
No, there's nothing wrong at all. We all have those animals that really jump out at us. Yeah. I think for me right now, my collection, if I had to pick an animal, I'd say it's the diamonds that do that for me. Whenever I look at them, it's like, oh.
It is true. So, every time I see a diamond in person, it's especially in person. When you see them in person, it's like hits you like so much harder than seeing a picture. But they're beautiful in pictures too. But yeah, every time you see a diamond in person, you're just like, oh crap, that's beautiful.
So for this year, do you mind if I just ask you, what are you pairing? Are you pairing any of your white lips?
I'm going to try that male again, and I'm either I haven't decided which I'm feeding both. I fed both of them last night, and so they're slowly gonna get ramped up for food, so that you know early spring maybe I'll start pairing again with one of them. Pearl is, I fed her, this is like I fed her I can't remember what I fed her, something small, I think like a jumbo mouse, and she's like close to 7 feet. And so that's just a small meal, and I hadn't been feeding her, like I said. And then I fed her a medium rat last night, and I got her out today and was looking at her, and I'm like, holy crap, dude, she's such a fertile myrtle. Like, I just fed her those 2 meals, and she already looks like thick. I'm like, she's definitely a fertile myrtle, because her body, like, it's like after the fast and you start feeding them, the females just start developing follicles. There's something about that, like, that fast that really like clicks it for them. You have to fast them before you start feeding them.
So when you say fast, are you going by just kind of like the same way you would breed like your carpet pythons? Like you stop feeding them for a couple of months, and then
yeah,
once you start warming back up the nights a little bit, so you said you go down to about the 80s in their hot spot, and then you bring them back up, then you start feeding them again?
Yeah, so what I started doing with because of the way Pearl would act, it would seem like because once the females become mature, you have to, this is the one thing that is not good about white lips, is it's mainly just a female problem. I don't really have this problem with the males, but certain times of the year you have to cover the front of their enclosure, because if they see movement in the room, they'll strike and they'll hurt. Like Dreamy actually like split her lip. She has like a little scar on her lip from hitting the front of the glass. And I noticed that happens 2 times a year. And it happens in the spring and it happens in the fall. And the strange thing is, so what I started doing is I fast. So I feed in the fall and I feed in the spring, and they get fasted in the winter and the summer. And when I say fast, it's like I'm watching their body condition. So like if I'm looking at my female and she looks like she's getting too skinny during the fast, I'll start offering her every now and then something small like a quail, or something, not so that she's getting some food, because you don't want them to get too skinny during the fast. But it's okay if they lose some weight, but I don't want her to get like totally skinny.
And so do you ramp up the same way as we would with carpet? So basically you fast and then a small meal to start to get their bodies going, and then a medium meal, and then like just stick with medium meals.
Yeah, like I said, I fed her last week I fed her just a quail. She's like almost, I haven't measured her. She's not one of those type of snakes that would like it if I sat there and put a string down her back. But if I hold her, she's somewhere between 6.5. Well, it's hard to say. Like I'm not a good judge, but I think she's between like 6.5 and 7 feet, like from the tip of her nose to the tip of her tail. And so I fed her like a quail, which is nothing for her. That's like a potato chip.
Yeah.
And then this week I fed her a medium rat. And I feel like medium rats these days aren't really what medium rats used to be. I don't know if you guys have that same problem in Canada. The shrinkflation hit the feeder rodents hard.
Yeah, At
I
least
breed my own rats,
I
so
think.
I just I
Okay.
say a certain gram of and that's what I feed. So that you're getting that gram because I actually weigh every darn rat.
Oh,
Oh
you
yeah,
do. Oh,
yeah.
that
It's a lot of work. It's a
you
lot.
you keep track of how much food your females are eating to like like by a certain like this is how much food it took for her to ovulate.
I just go purely on what they
Yeah,
look like.
no, I don't.
I feed them, and if they look good,
What I
it's
did.
way too much work.
I think I don't know if you I don't know what podcast it was, but Lucas Lee was like on a podcast. It was probably like I don't know, NPR, but he was talking about how he breeds on vibes, and I'm like I think that's the new thing. Like we breed on vibes. We just like watch the female. She's looking a little skinny. I'm gonna give her a quail or a jumbo mouse or something.
It's just easier that way, right? You look at your animals, you try to read them, you try to eventually figure it out, and as you have animals for multiple years, you start understanding them a lot better.
Yeah.
And just over time, I mean, I wouldn't use vibes because I'm not cool like Lucas Lee, but I would just say I just go with what feels right or what I'm seeing, and then I go with it.
Yeah.
So
Like that's why I started with when I started seeing like, oh, I have to put paper on their enclosure, that must be a sign that there's something in their body that's from going from like I'm not really feeding them during the summer where they're just like chilling out in their enclosure and I'm mainly just changing their water all summer and they're not striking the window when you'd think that it would make more sense that they would strike the window when they're hungry because I'm not feeding them all summer. But no, all of a sudden, one day in the spring or I'm in the fall, I walk in there, boom, start striking the glass.
yeah, I have one animal like that that strikes at anything that comes near, and
Do you
I don't
notice
know.
it's a certain time of year that she does it, or
Well, that one's just aggressive. Like if you look behind me, you can see there's paper in front of the screen.
oh yeah, I see that.
She's always covered up because if I go anywhere near, it's always smack, 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 and just
Yeah,
there's a couple of those animals that
So
are like that.
talking about
that's my female Bahama.
so talking about knowing your animals, same thing with my Warma. My female, usually I try to grab her, she'll try to bite you. But certain times of the year when she's with the male and you know she's gravid, you'll be able to pick her up, no problems. She won't try to bite you. Totally different kind of mindset, I guess, or like she's not in food response at all. Most other times she's always in food response, always trying to bite you, bite anything. I mean, she bit my phone one time.
Yeah, I noticed that too with the white lips when they're so hungry and then once it usually is like a week or 2 weeks before they ovulate when they start not getting as much of a food response and where they don't want the food and they're almost like catatonic like you could reach in there and do move them around but the male I leave him in there until it's like obviously that she's ovulating and during that time he is the one because usually he's really mellow he gets really aggressive and he'll it almost feels like he's guarding her during that time. Have you guys noticed that behavior ever?
Guarding, I've seen it.
Like
I said so.
he'll like lay on top of her while she's just sitting there like totally calm and like not having a care in the world and he'll just be either on top of her or like in front of her and if I try to go in there to like see what how they're looking and or change their water he'll start striking at me.
My Warma, the male is like he's such a scaredy cat. You pick him up, all he wants to do is run away from you all the time. When it comes to food, though, he's very aggressive. He'll eat snakes, anything. He'll eat pretty. I've given him snakes before, so that's why you have to be careful. Like when I put him in with the female, I've never
Oh
had a
yeah.
problem though. He's never tried anything with the female, But like a baby, like when you have like a snake that kind of dies, like hatchlings or something, sometimes I'll give them a little thing, and I've had a few times where I'm like, whoa, he just went crazy. She won't touch anything like that though. It's crazy how they are, right?
Well, that's good. Is he smaller than her,
They're
or are
both
they
the
the same?
same length. He's definitely slimmer. She's I try to keep her fat, to try to not fat, but like pudgy, so she can retain some good, healthy eggs. So yeah, I'm trying.
Is she gonna go
I
this
don't
year,
know,
Shane?
man. I'm trying so hard, but you don't even know. I
It's been 3 years that I'm
I
waiting for a
know. I've
goddamn
done it
female.
before.
All you
I
produce
know.
is
I know.
males.
Yeah. So besides the hoping for the white lips in the fall, fingers crossed, and then I already did most of my breeding this fall. So I have the ball python eggs, and then fingers crossed for the carpet eggs, and then fingers crossed for green tree python eggs again. So, but yeah, that's actually a lot. If I was able to do all of that this year, that would be the most I've ever, hatched in a year. So, knock on wood, everything goes well.
I definitely wish it for you. It's fun, but eventually you'll reach a point where you're like, okay, that's enough. This is how
Yeah.
much I want, no more than that.
I'm
But
not, like, when I knock on wood, everything goes well. It means that no females are egg bound or anything like that. Like, hopefully, the worst thing that happens is I strike out and nothing happens.
yeah, that's it's much better than losing a few females every year. So, um, Michael, I don't know how long you want to go, but did you want to throw in your little commercial and just chat about our sponsor before we maybe ask one last question? Is he
Uh,
still there?
yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You just, there's not a
Awesome.
lot of Michael
I
speaking.
I just had to like cut my video, or else I think it was gonna keep going in and out, kind of thing. Yeah, awesome. Well, Lisa, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you have a really successful season. Because
Thank
seeing you produce like chondros and hopefully more white lips, along with hopefully some syrup pythons in the future, would be pretty awesome. And ring pythons, because still not too many people have them, even though more people are breeding them now. So that'd be awesome. So yeah, Reptile Rejects is brought to you by Cornell's World, the one of the leaders in North American caging for reptiles. And you can get either pre-made, like normal PVC cages, your classic 4x2x2s or 4x2x1s. But then they can also do big custom enclosures, like Greg's done for his black tree monitors, as well as he knows how to do the Euro style glass terrariums kind of thing. So you can build basically any kind of custom tank you want, along with carrying all the reptile supplies you could need, from herp stats to ReptiRad heat panels to Vivarium electronic supplies and everything in between. Go visit cornellsworld.com and go visit them on Instagram and Facebook. And also go check out WCRE, Western Canadian Reptile Expo, and go get your tickets today for your next for the next show in Calgary in April.
Well, I'll pay my rent a little bit for tonight, and I'm just gonna say Cornell cages. I have a few of those, and they don't warp compared to other cages. So, very good quality from a customer. So, that's my share anyway. Definitely good quality cages. It's worth the extra little bit compared to the cheap cages that warp. Over time, you'll tell the difference. You'll be able to tell the difference.
For sure.
There you go. Lisa, again, a huge, huge thank you for jumping on. That was actually really, really enjoyable. Really liked it. Would you be able to drop any of your contact or any information for how people can get a hold of you?
Um, I'm just on Lisa Farinha on Instagram and Facebook, and I try to get back to people, but sometimes it might take a day or two. If anyone contacts me on there, if I don't get back to you right away, it's not because I'm just dissing you. It's just because I haven't noticed it. Thanks a lot for having me on, guys. I'm really enjoying the podcast. You guys ask some really insightful questions, and I really appreciate the podcast and the work you guys are doing.
We appreciate it, Lisa. If you ever have any feedback, feel free to reach out to one of us.
Yeah, definitely appreciate
Definitely
that.
have to have more girls in the hobbies like you. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely look up to you. Some the species that I haven't worked with or haven't bred yet, both green trees and white lips. I mean, and you have. It's like, wow. So absolutely, man. No, absolutely. Seriously, we need more girls in the hobby, and you're definitely up there for sure. So, thank you, Lisa.
Oops, sorry, guys.
No worries. I just want to say too, Lisa, I really enjoyed hearing the purring on the podcast. Probably about 75% of the time. Oh yeah, I don't like. I didn't say anything, but the entire time.
Was subtle,
I just
so
turned
it's
off
not
that
too
alarm.
It was definitely there the entire show, and I just thought it was good background noise.
It was subtle though, so it wasn't too.
Gosh,
It wasn't
I'm so
annoying
sorry.
at all.
No. If it would have been an issue, I would have said it. No, we definitely could hear it. If I had my cat, our cat is the same thing. It purrs like crazy, and it's really
She's
tough.
mad because it's dinner time, and she's like trying to like tell me, "Come on, feed me." I should have fed her before the show.
All good. Again, thank you very much for coming on. For anybody who wants to get a hold of Reptile Rejects, it's Reptile Rejects on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click those little funky buttons. Follow us, all that kind of stuff. If you're looking for Michael Gillian on Facebook. For Shan, I'm going to say Snake Frenzy. I actually don't know your contact information on how to get a hold of you. Why don't you tell us, Shan?
Snake Frenzy is what I sometimes go by, but usually Shan Melanson at Facebook or Instagram. I'm more of a Facebook. Same thing with Lisa. If I don't see you on Instagram, it's because I don't usually go there very often. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So, but
Fair enough. Myself, Dominic Catwano on Facebook, or Dom's Reptiles on Instagram. Lisa, I'm going to say one last time, thank you for coming on. Really, really, really enjoyed it. And remember, when you have extra white lips, send some to Canada. To us specifically, I'd love to have
Mickey.
some.
You guys need to talk to Mickey.
Oh yeah, I'll work on him.
Mickey, okay, guys.
He's got a girl inverting right now.
Be the white
he is going to be. He will be.
You guys are going to be. You guys are going to be buried in white lips. So.
See, the problem is you can't say his name too often because his head keeps inflating. Right, at some point he won't fit through a door in a way. So you got to be careful.
He should come on here and talk to you guys.
Trust me, I'm working on him. Yeah, you work on him.
He was cool to meet. Last year he came to one of the shows out in BC.
Yeah, I've never met him, but I probably didn't tell you that, Michael. But I'm trying to work on him coming on with Don Patterson. He said that Don would consider going on with Michael Islam, but as of right now, it's still far from a done deal. But it's a possibility in the background because Don hasn't been on a podcast in multiple years now.
2018?
Is that the last time?
Or 2019? I think it was 2018's February for NPR.
Yeah, well, I'm trying, and he said that they both would consider going together. So we'll see. If we get that show going, that would be awesome.
Well,
all right, guys.
To that show. You have a good night,
Good night, Lisa.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for logging on, and
Thanks, guys.
yeah,
Good night.
have a good night. Ciao, guys.